Hello, guys, and welcome back. As you can see, we have a change of scenery. I am not in New York, I am in Dallas. When you see this, oh no, when you see this, I'll still be here actually. um, I'll still be here. But today we have a special guest to talk about a very special topic. I mean, all my topics are special, but this one is extra special. Today, we're going to talk about the joy of friendship. And today, I have my friends, Miss Kahawia.
Yeah. Let's clap for me. Listen, you know what? Clap for Lahoma. Give it up for her. Oh, Lahoma is you.
It doesn't matter. It's in the bottom. Oh my God.
Talk about me, right?
Here we go with the edit.
Give it up for you. Thank you for having me. So
yes.
I am Kahawia from K&K Podcast, which is Real Talk with Kiva and Kahawia. Check us out.
You guys have to tune in. They're amazing, and they're here to make you open up your mind, develop, okay?
And change your life.
Change your life.
Build your nation.
All the things that we've been talking about.
The Black family, rebuilding the Black family, rebuilding the Black nation, all the things. We are a literary podcast.
My community.
Mm-hmm.
My community.
Yeah.
When did we start our journey of the book part? When did that even start?
Did it start 2019?
Was it 2019?
I'm assuming 2019 because I'm thinking around the same time that I moved, which was in 2019. So I'm thinking back then.
Well, honey, you better.
I don't think we was reading in 2018.
Right.
No, 2018 we lost contact. Remember?
Listen, I'm gonna give you guys a quick rundown if I even can jump in wherever to add or take away or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So we know each other from high school. Should we say what high school? We went to Andrew Jack, okay, same as 50, same as Cool J.
He went there too.
Child.
I knew 50 went there, but
Mr. Stone had a picture of him and LL in the room.
I never took classes with Mr. Stone. I didn't have music.
Lord have mercy. So yes, 50, LL, and the guy that got killed.
Jam Master Jay.
Jam Master Jay, honey. Okay, greatness.
Talk about it.
Okay, y'all better recognize the. Okay.
Talk about it.
So. We met in high school and we didn't actually talk until 10th grade.
Right, until we started working together on student government.
Student government, correct. In fact, we've had plenty of conversations about this where we laughed at the fact that we did not like each other. And it wasn't a beef kind of didn't like, it was just like her vibing right, you're vibing right.
Yeah.
She thought I was stuck up. I thought she was a psychopath. Like, that's just what it is.
Because I had a rat tail tooth comb. And the folks got on my nerves. And
she will walk around with a rat tail tooth comb. And I remember when we finally started working in student government, I asked her, why do you walk with that in the back of your pocket?
Because you never know.
Honey. Okay.
Folks be trying to get slick out here, and it's just a quick draw McGraw.
and she actually used it one day, okay? She actually used it, so she wasn't playing no games.
A few days.
Child. Okay.
Listen.
So that's when we started jamming. Like, we started working in student government in the 10th grade, and we were surrounded by a bunch of
people who join committees just to say they doing something.
Thank you.
Who will, it's something to do after school. Some reason to stay after school or, be involved in the shows and the things, go to the shows, spring concerts and shit for free. That's what they was there for.
Yes. And
they was there for the photo op, but not the work.
Okay, thank you for that. Meanwhile, we're like ready. Okay, we stacking papers.
Honey.
We ready to work. Ready to work.
Like,
High school
let's
kids.
change this fucking school. Let's do something.
We are ready. And that's how we meshed, because everybody else was fooling around. Meanwhile, we're looking at them like, we got work to do and y'all here playing. And so we literally ran it.
Yeah.
We literally ran it. Anything that needed to be done. Our COSA, which what does that even?
And we wasn't even like president then. Wasn't we like secretary and treasurer?
I was voted parliamentarian.
I was secretary.
See?
And then junior year we came in, I was president.
Right.
What were you?
I was oh wait, did we start? We got voted sophomore year for junior year. Because I went from did we?
Child, it's been so long ago. How long ago was high school? I know I was president twice.
Oh, okay, so what was I the second time?
Because I was senior president and I was junior president. Because remember junior year, I was running against Tiffany.
Stop giving me stuff to edit out.
Oh, okay.
Oh my gosh. We are promoting people to be graceful and be stern with people, but not a bully.
She was bullying me the whole time.
Was she bullying you?
Not per se, but she was like going around like, I'll give you $1 not to vote for her.
Oh, I remember that.
She was all in the boys' ears on their laps and trying to.
You got me thinking now. Like, what was I the second time around? What did they have?
Hell, so I didn't even know they had parliamentary. You just said it. Yes. I remember that.
I don't think I was ever secretary, honestly. Maybe I was parliamentarian twice and don't even remember.
Treasurer, vice president.
I think you were president, and then for both junior and senior.
I was for junior and senior.
Right. So
But you said 10th grade. So now
yes, because remember they presented. No. They presented us. You making up stories on my show?
No, I'm saying you said sophomore year, so I'm like, well, shit.
Yes, because sophomore year was when we found out about it. The elections happened, and then we didn't actually start working until junior year.
Okay. Your memory show better than mine.
So yes, ooh, honey, child, this gonna be one. I hope y'all already know this gonna be one. So yes, 10th grade, the news went out that this is what the school was doing. Because my mother was a hater and didn't want me to do tennis, I decided to go into student government, and it actually worked out beautifully because
she formed a relationship with
Kahawia. That part, but also I gained other things, like I got rid of my stage fright, being able to be part of that, because we had to constantly talk to people and be on stage and present people and do all those things. So it really helped me with that. So yes, so that's where it started. I think that's a good brief situation. And then as we went on, it wasn't a friendship as it is today. We were under the category of associates for a long time. We would talk to each other maybe once every 2 years or so or something. It went from that to hitting each other up for our birthdays. Whenever she was in town, we would go have lunch or dinner together. And
because I be in all the places. I'm a little nomad at heart.
I be all the places
around. That's why my name calls me Butterfly, but I'll tell you about that another time.
So, and then from that's when I was doing my yearly changing of the number and checkup, right? Because
and at that time, I think we both were changing our number.
At that time, both of us changed our numbers. And instead of
December 31st.
Oh, girl, I'm glad you remember that, because I don't remember, but I sure remember not being able. I'm like, what is going on? And I could not find her. And honestly, that's what started like this whole thing. Like I went into whole detective mode. I'm paying for services to find her. sending letters and all the things. Just recently, you got the letter. The second letter.
I got a second letter, yeah.
Honey.
Because she sent a letter to an address that I was no longer at. Actually, she sent 2 letters to addresses that I was no longer at. Right. But I received I don't know if it was the first one or the second one.
Right.
But I received one of them because I had my mail forwarded to where I was currently. So it came and I was like, from Cynthia? I was like, oh, what's in there?
Yeah, and I was nervous too because I'm like, I don't know if she's still there, whatever.
Listen, that letter was like,
to the point.
Diamond, if this is you, send me an email at such and such.
Yep, I certainly was not going to put my number because I didn't want no psycho to come.
She didn't put a name on it. It was just like, if this is you, I think it just said like your last name and your mailing sticker.
Right. But also my email is what it is.
Yeah.
So it was easy to know that it was me. But honey, and literally after that, it was like, if you disappear on me again, honey, okay?
And that's from her perspective, right? So from my perspective, I was like, someone in this world cares about me enough to find me. I will never let her go ever. Like, when you go through those lengths to find somebody that you knew, somebody that you cared about, and they just seem like they just fell off the face of the earth, which I can do from time to time.
Honey, and me too. And that's the problem.
That's the problem.
That's the problem.
So it was like, you know what? I will never, ever, ever let her go.
And that's the story.
That's the story.
How we literally went from associates to friends. And now she's like, you're my best friend.
An avid
I don't know if I don't know if I ever spoke about my whole thing with the best friend. I don't know if I ever have.
I don't know if you did on camera, but you have to do.
So I don't really do the best friend thing, and it's really because of what we're about to get into. Mm-hmm. Like, once you find a friend is a friend. Like, that title means something. Mm-hmm. You know,
it's a mutually beneficial relationship with responsibility. Like, it has its own set of responsibilities, and to declare one best over the others, then it's like, well, is the others really the friends, right? But I declared best because I only got but one friend. So you just my bestest friend.
You have more friends.
I have 2 friends. How many friends I got? Okay. The closest members of my circle is related to me.
Child. Well, there you go.
And according, to how we're defining these things, I have.
No, it's true.
I have 2 friends.
It's true.
2 friends. Which is, look, I'm good with it because I know what friendship is. Mm-hmm. And those 2 people, I feel comfortable to share whatever. Yeah. And not even just share whatever, but I feel comfortable that if I'm making moves in my life that may not be the best for me, even though I may not see it, but they may see it from their perspective, mm-hmm. I trust that they're going to call me out on it.
Right.
And not just call me out on it, but call me out on it and maybe provide me some alternative ways of thinking. I trust that they're going to try their best to take me off of that path and lead me somewhere different. I trust myself to be vulnerable with them. And I trust that whatever it is that they're suggesting to me is something that I should definitely take heed to because they love me like I love myself. Right. And vice versa. So yeah, I take my friendship with it. I got 2 friends.
And not just that, but it also takes knowing the person that you are friend with and genuinely getting mm-hmm. to know them better sometimes than they know themselves.
Honey, but if you don't, can you call them a friend?
Exactly. So I think even though we jumped the gun to like friends,
but she my soulmate.
We were, honey, y'all don't even know. But we gonna try, if we remember all the things, we gonna try to do, because we listen, we said we was gonna find a new thing instead of calling ourselves old, but we old, okay?
Listen.
When I talk about my Bible study, when I talk about the accountability group, when I talk about the sip and stitch, which I don't frequently talk about, but I have a group for people who knit, crochet, anything that is needlework crafting.
And talk about a friend. I told my friend that I wanted to learn how to crochet, and my friend sent me a teach yourself at home kit for my birthday.
I sure did.
And I
intentional
ain't quite
gifts.
get it together, but she came down to see me and we got it together. And I'm still kind of getting it together, but I'm doing great considering.
And so, yes, so 2019, as you stated, there was a book that just came out by a pastor in Jersey. And I was like, I think he was interviewed by Pastor Michael Todd. And I was like, I'm going to get this book. We need to get this book together and read it. So we got the book, and in general, out of 10, how would you rate the book? I think I'll give it a 7 because it was good in the beginning.
Yeah, I would give it about the same, because I think after he broke down, those categories, it just kind of became a little bit redundant for me.
And for those who are interested, I will put the information on this book in the description below.
Yeah, I feel like after we got the meat and potatoes, I was looking for some more meat and potatoes. Right. I was looking for seconds, and then I got scraps. I felt, and I was like, all right, well, let's finish this book because we finished what we start.
Right.
And it became that.
But it was a good read, because I think we were both in a place where we're still in that place, right? We're in a place where first of all, we are in our 30s. And we're trying to really be intentional about life, about ourselves, about the people who are around us, about all the things that we want to do,
about
everything. And so we have really started this kind of like book club between each other, honestly, and it just happened organically. So it started off with that book, and it went on to that's kind of mean, but it went on to Michael Todd book, which I didn't necessarily like, not because it wasn't a good book, but it was because I already know the stories.
Yeah.
So it was the same stories over again, and it was also a hard read because he wrote it as if he was preaching. And so it was a little bit difficult. Maybe one or two things shocked me that he hasn't said on stage, but so it went on from that, and I don't think,
honey, and I don't even remember the name of the book, so imagine.
Relationship something, not that. Relationship.
No, not that
relationship
one.
Goals. Relationship goals. That's what it was. Which, as I spoke of last week, that was the sermon that caught me, and why he was the person who I started to watch when I left the church or whatever. So you guys know a little bit about him already. And then from that, we dug deep. Like after reading the book by the first pastor, we were in our phones like, okay, so the book,
delete.
Yes, honey. The book spoke about really being intentional about the people in your lives, right? So it broke people down into 4 categories: your friends, your associates, your
advisors,
and your assignments.
And when I tell you, honey, I was like, so these people that I love so deeply and wanted to just be with me, I was their advisor. It was my assignment. That's why they treated me like that. That's why they did what they did. And this is not to, it's not to shame them. It's not to say that they did me wrong, because that wasn't the case. But it's to say that I categorized them incorrectly.
Right. And that was on you.
That was on me.
The book tells you it puts the ball in your court, to say, hey, this is what's going on here, so let me fix that. And it doesn't tell you to be shady. It also tells you to, have that conversation with the other person, which I'm sure is hard for some of us. But if you want to have a peace of mind, like, you got to do what you got to do.
Yeah. And that's that transparency factor.
Right.
And if you can't be transparent with your friends, can you call them friends?
Can you call them friends, honey? Can you call them friends? I literally, your birthday last year, I put our story in there. And I was like, what friends do you know talk about how they didn't like each other in high school or whenever they met? You don't see that.
I actually see it a lot.
Do you?
Yeah.
I don't see it.
It's a thing.
I have a bunch of fake folks around me.
It's a thing where it's like, I didn't like your ass at all. And they'd be like, well, I didn't like you either. And then, yeah, I've seen that narrative.
Not in my life.
But she definitely did write our entire story in my birthday card.
I did.
And it was so heartfelt, even though I knew the story, right? But I'm a sucker for words because
I moved forward because that was me really declaring like, I'm here and I'm going to be here until my last breath. And what that's going to look like is there's going to be days where I'm going to be nasty and you're going to want to choke me, but that's okay. Right. And so with saying that, then now this part I said I wasn't sure if I was going to talk to, but I think it's important to our story, which is recently us being exposed to the human design. And so the human design has really, honey, it shot us up. Like we make fun of each other all the time because of this now. And I'm not even going to go into detail because that's not what this platform is about. However, if you're interested, it's the human design. Go do your thing, do your research. You know what I'm saying?
We big on do your research at KNK. Do your own research. Don't take nothing that we saying as truth, as absolute truth, because there is no such thing as absolute truth. And that's the absolute truth. But do your own research.
Do your own research. It's going to help you tremendously. Tremendously. There is not one person who I have brought this up to that have said, oh, this is trash or this is not true or whatever.
I've had one person.
What?
Right. But let me tell you why that made sense to that person. Right? Okay. Because that ajna was defined. So that person was like, well, I don't think that's true for me. And I was just thinking, I was literally in my head like, but it's true for you.
I'll defend December friend.
Our November friend.
November?
Whose birthday you thought was last week?
I thought it was December.
No.
Child. Oh my gosh, we talking about the same person. Cannot. Anyways, I could have sworn you was like, it's December.
No, it's November.
Anyways, so that, really getting into that.
Sign for December, but it's November.
Okay. After doing that, it really it was like the cherry on top. Like it just goes into such details, and I really appreciated it because it helps you. That statement of when I get upset and you might want to choke me and all that is like now we are equipped to understand each other better and give grace when grace is going to be needed. Right. Because now we understand, first of all, it's not personal. Okay. Maybe I'm tired. Maybe I'm hungry. Maybe I'm not defined in this area.
Maybe I was born this way.
Maybe that's just what it is. You know what I'm saying? And so now instead of getting upset and venting outside of our community, is like, she just hungry. San Diego, honey, this woman came and picked me up at the airport and she was all kinds of angry on the phone, and I'm dying and I'm like, you hungry? She's like, yes. Like, I know. Listen, it's funny. I'm not even gonna get angry because I already know what's happening in her spirit.
This is true. So much so that for this trip, she was like, please make sure you get something to eat.
Please.
Bring your snacks. So So much so when we went grocery shopping to be here,
Wow.
we passed the snack aisle. She was like, "There's a snack aisle. Get your snacks."
I
Because
know.
we have a long journey tomorrow. Get your
Yes.
snacks.
Yes. Because I don't want no. You see, one of my brothers is a Sag, and she's not a Sag, but
I'm a Leo.
I've been around. You just had to say it. You just couldn't help yourself.
Could not.
I've been around hangry people. Like, it's a serious thing. And so
It's life and death.
I'm a laugh. Okay, hear me out. I'm a laugh, but I'm gonna need you to be responsible and go eat something, because I'm gonna laugh but for so long before I get upset, and then it's gonna become a situation, right? So it's really helped us be able to walk with each other and have patience and love on each other and really be each other's soundboard. And even, like, I call her all the time, right? Because per our definitions, we're not gonna go into details, but she's a projector and I'm a manifester. And we need our projectors in order to guide us, to kind of streamline our situations a bit. And so whenever I'm going through something that I know, maybe I have the right words, but I'm upset right now, and so I can't think, I am going to call her, text her, or whatever, and say, hey, this is the situation that I'm going through. I just need you to put words into my mouth.
Honey, and I'm good for that. I'll give you all the words. And today I was on a roll.
Today you was on a roll.
I was on a roll until the end, to where,
oh Lord. Listen, today was a day.
I just was like, okay. I didn't have no more words.
Today,
okay.
we just went out. We had a good time.
Then drove to Timbuktu.
Everything was amazing. And I had to do this video, right? There's other things that I wanted to speak of, but I'm like, you know what? It would be really nice to do a video like this. And so I look at her and she looks kind of tired. Like, she's been driving all day. Her eyes are red. And I'm just like, we're into essential oils. And I'm just like, hey, I need you to smell some peppermint. She gives it to me and I'm like, I need you to smell some peppermint. She's like, okay, so you take it out the bag.
Because I'm driving.
So I take it out the bag. She smells it and I'm like, you're supposed to do it for a minute. And she's like, I did 2 on each nostril. And I was like, girl. So she puts it, I put it in her hand and she's now like trying to smell it without spilling it. And I'm just looking at her like, and I just swab it around her hand.
Mind
like,
you, I'm driving. The car is moving. I got my hand on the wheel. It's dark outside. I'm in a state that I've never been to. I already got lost messing with the GPS.
She wasn't really lost.
Not lost, but I got redirected. And also, too, they don't have enough good signage here. They just got roads with one sign over to the right, one tiny sign over to the right. And I'm like, well, which road am I supposed to take? And you know, the GPS be doing the most. And now you want me to concentrate on smelling something? I'm trying to concentrate on going the right way.
I've seen women drive and put on a whole face.
Listen, I don't be doing that now.
All she had to do was a quick swab and then continue driving.
Which is interesting, right? Because I do be driving and doing a whole bunch of things. I be eating the whole meals.
A whole meal.
One time I was driving in college, I had a final due. Honey, I got my laptop in the passenger seat. I'm just typing and speeding and doing all the things that the Lord was with me that day.
Are you serious right now?
And these are the parts that, you know, she had to have grace for me.
And she couldn't do a little swab of an oil, but she writing a whole essay while she's driving. I didn't know this. Okay, I did not know this.
I wasn't thinking about that. But then when she did it, I was like, oh yeah, I guess I could have done that.
So back to the story, honey, she starts smelling this peppermint and she done lost her mind. The day just went left. Like, she was taking all kinds of turns. She, like, took the wrong turn, then get off. I'm thinking we heading home, and then she's back at the same place again. And I'm just like, what is going on? And then we finally on the right track. And then she's like, ooh, child, I almost went back on the highway. And I'm just like, what is happening? Like,
because Liz, I'm telling you, Dallas, and they signage. Don't have good signage. GPS said I got a left coming up, so I was in the left lane because I didn't want to be so far over to the right. And then the left lane turns into a ramp to get on the highway. I said, oh, what? So now I got to try to get over. It's just not good signage. And so I would say not good signage, and that peppermint made me hyper alert. I felt like,
let me tell y'all something.
I felt high a little bit. I felt like, oh.
Another thing that I don't know if I've mentioned, but I can't be doing drugs. I do not need to be doing no drugs because I'm good for just on a very good day, just cracking up for nothing. I'm talking a long laugh. I'm talking 2 minutes, tears, my stomach hurting like just for nothing. Okay, so I cannot be on drugs, and clearly neither can she, because she took a snip. First of all, okay, she did 2 things on each nostril, right? And she done. And she done. But all of a sudden, I put the 1 drop of oil in her hand, and now she driving, just smelling away. And I'm just like, what is the difference between you doing this and this? Like,
but I think it's the closed cup, right? Because then that keeps it concentrated. I think
it does.
It keeps it contained. So now I'm like, now I'm getting all of it.
As she mentioned, as soon as she took the first inhale, oh, this hit different. And that's when I should have known that.
Give me your hand back so I can wipe it.
It was gonna go all the way left.
But we laughed. We barely laughed.
And she almost went left for sure.
But it was amazing.
Honey, but yes.
You can't make up these experiences.
You cannot. And these are the little joys of having a friend, right? Yeah. Because these are just little things that you pick up on somebody that you intimately know. Mm-hmm. Like us laughing, and then you stop laughing to oh, this is my part in this song. I have to sing this part. And I picked up on that. Because I'm like, I know she did not just stifle a laugh just to sing this to me a song. Because that was my part. Child, you was sweating that the song wasn't going to come out for another 100 years or something. She could have easily just rewind. That's all she had to do.
Listen, but I was living in that moment, and that riff right there, that part.
But these are the joys. And we are like enjoying each other. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like, we have gone from, like I said, talking on occasion to at least once a week we on the phone.
Yeah, I would say. And sometimes
it's stupidity.
Sometimes we talk every day.
But most of the time.
But sometimes, it just kind of depends on how life goes. And I would say the Homa is very intentional about me organizing time for me to rest. Because I struggle with that, right? Mm-hmm. And only somebody who is my friend knows me well enough to say, like, what was it? In the car, she was like...
So there's this movie coming out, right? And what is it called? Lost Island or something like that? With Sandra Bullock. And she's like, well, do you want to watch it? And I'm like, I mean, yeah, that's fine. We could watch it. And so...
I didn't already made plans in my mind.
I think she looked. You went on the phone and looked, mm-hmm. and she saw that we could go watch it. So as we're driving back to the Airbnb, she's like, "Well, do you want to catch a matinee tomorrow, or do you want to go at night?" And I struggled to peel myself out of bed today, and she talking to me about matinee. I was like, I took a silence. I was silent, huh?
You was for a minute.
I took a little bit of silence to myself.
It was like, how about we just practice resting tomorrow?
How about we just...
And whatever time we get up, that's when we get up. And that's when we start our day. How about that? And I was like, you know what?
You almost sounded disappointed. Was you disappointed?
A little bit. I was like, oh. Okay. But in my disappointment, that was a moment for me to be like, I need to process this, right? Mm-hmm. Am I disappointed? Maybe, but it's not true disappointment that I'm feeling.
Because you low-key feel unproductive.
Yes. Unproductive. And I don't do good with idle time. I don't know if y'all know that about me, but I don't do good with idle time, and I'm trying to
like
learn
so
to
many
do better
people.
with idle time.
This is why
And
2020 was such an impact for so many people.
yeah,
Because people didn't know what to do with themselves. Meanwhile, my manifesting behind was, honey, that was the best time of my life.
now don't get me wrong, I love time alone. Love my
Yeah.
solitude, but even in my solitude, I'm doing something. I'm doing all the things.
Doing all the things, doing way too much.
Way too much.
So I was like, how about we sleep? Because I still feel very much sleepy. I had a stressful day before flying out to Dallas. And I think per my design that my energy has been tapped. And so I need to refill that, because if I go back, that's what I told you. If I go back, I have to go to work the very next day. Now I set it up so that I don't have to go in the morning, but still, if I go back home and I'm on E, we're going to have a problem.
Honey, now mind you, I'm thinking in my head, well, it's your birthday. We've never been here. Let's do all the things, see all the things.
And the crazy part is too, your design is worse. Your design is worse than mine, because as far as energy goes, is generators, manifestors, projectors, reflectors. So the fact that you are tapping into, I don't know what the heck you tapping into.
I'm tapping into the line in the book that says projectors be out here trying to be generators.
Definitely.
And they are not.
But how? Because I don't have a defined sacral. So who you tapping from?
I think it's because as a projector, because we plan all the things, we also then feel we can do those things that we plan. So it's like, so I done made this plan, because in my mind, I'm like, well, shit, we can catch a matinee, then we could go here, then we could go there, we can rip, we can run, we can rip, we can run. And I'm not thinking about how exhausted I'm going to be. I'm not even thinking about how exhausted I am right now, even though I invited her to a matinee and I'm yawning. Right now. And I think it was in that conversation when you realized I was up straight since 7:30. You was like, you didn't go back to sleep. I'm like, wow, I had some research to do.
I was sleeping. So when she told me about this matinee, I was like, sleep for 500, please. Thank you.
Yeah.
That's exactly what I'm going to do. I'm probably going to put on the TV, watch something, and then the TV going to watch me.
Honey. And it was her tone too, because the tone was so firm.
Was it?
I told you. It was subtle, but it was firm enough to where the tone was go to bed. Like it was very much like sending the child to their room, lights out. And I expressed to you that I needed you to say that to me in that way, so I could be like, okay, it's okay for me to sleep. And it's not that I need to break. I mean, of course it's okay for me to sleep,
in a way
but it's your birthday here for you.
Right.
So it's
that's
like,
what it is. You're being a good friend. And so, okay, I'm loving that we touching on that, right? Because just because your friend is there for you doesn't mean that you now get to take advantage of that.
Yeah.
It's about doing what's best for the other person. Now, to be honest, I wasn't doing it because I think that's what's best for her. I'm tired. So even if she wants to wake up in the morning and maybe do whatever, maybe she wants to stay in, do some work, or if she wants to go out by herself, she could do that. But just know that I ain't going with you because I'm gonna be sleeping. And that's that.
Right.
So so what we did was we definitely went through our phones and kind of put everybody in specific definitions. So that little part where it asks you the group, it usually only says group, right? I don't know about iPhone.
I think for Android.
What do you have in it?
I mean, I think they have group for like notes, but I don't think it's set up like how you can set it up on Android. I think it's just
did you ever switch it over?
My groups?
Well, did you ever when you got the iPhone, did you ever switch over and define to everybody?
Mentally, I didn't put no special notes.
Okay, so I would suggest that you go through your phone and define people. And if you ever come to a point where, because that's gonna happen, it happened to me. There was some people that I was just like unclear about, like I don't know what this is. Now I have a bad habit, and I do think is a bad habit of just getting rid of people without having conversation.
We both have. We struggle with that habit.
We struggle because
equally.
when you're done and
done.
you're out.
And we're trying to learn new behaviors.
We are.
We're trying to really be graceful out here.
Yes.
We are trying to remember that we too are flawed people, right?
Correct.
And we want people to have grace with us the same way the Most High has grace with us all. So with that it's a struggle.
It is.
Child, just block somebody and it's like, and block them with no conversation. I mean, I had some conversation, but it was just no conversation, and it was just like, hold up, block. Then I get the call, hey, so you blocked me?
But I think it was enough conversation because I think before it got to the dinner part of this story, you did say like, hey, these are the things for me. And when you finally agreed, because this person kind of said all the things that they needed to say to get you to where they wanted to get you. And then you realize, oh, you ain't about it. So I'm going to block you. And so there was a conversation.
Check. There was conversation, yeah, for sure. There was conversation, but I feel like there wasn't the conversation
as to why.
As to, I'm finna block you and this is why. It was just like, I don't know if cuss on your show or not cuss a lot. So I'm not gonna cuss. But it was just like, peace out.
Yeah. Well, that's enough of that.
Enough of that.
So yes, so go through your phones. If there's somebody who you cannot define, I mean, it's really up to you. From my perspective, you can either cut them off or you could go according to the book and have a conversation. The discerning chapter, where it spoke about reflection, which is what I'm telling you to do. Reflect on the people in your lives, including family members, because I'm tired of mentioning this, but including family members.
Right. And so when we speak about community, we're talking about like-minded individuals.
Correct.
Regardless of how we encounter them on our path. So is community, you don't get to consider yourself community just because you live next door to me. It's just not.
That's right. And that's because specifically living in North America, you can't. We have people who are from all over the world with different values, different morals. You know what I mean? And so you can't really, it's nice to still be neighborly, right? That's what I preach. I preach being a good neighbor. But being a good neighbor is definitely different from having your community. So you need to reflect, you need to evaluate, which I love. I did want to touch on that. I love how in evaluation, it specifically said the fruits. What fruits do you see this person bearing? If you see someone who's not bearing good fruit, sweet fruit, delicious fruit,
the root is trash.
Is trash. Nobody wants bitter fruits. Nobody wants a poisonous fruit. Nobody wants none of that. But honestly, a lot of us, a lot of y'all, I'm not part of that, so I'm not gonna say us. A lot of y'all have people who are poison. You gotta get out of that. You gotta get out of that. Now, granted, that comes with getting to know yourself. Another thing that I talk about a lot. You have to get to know yourself because you might have one person who you may be able to stand. You may be able to stand, but you have to have boundaries in that because you have to know, okay, I see that this person, it's a little bit, it's questionable. However, for me, my boundary is I need to see that you are trying. I need to see that you are constantly digging up every spring. You're digging up and reworking the soil and putting nutrients and doing all the things so
on
that
your own.
You can be on your own
without my influence, without me, bringing you to the water, without me showing you.
Because I don't have that type of energy. I don't. Especially now that I work for myself. I'm tired. on a constant.
I'm tired of thinking for folks.
And I'm that part too. I'm tired of thinking for folks. I'm not gonna do it. However, because I am in a constant research mode, I'm constantly watching and reading and doing. As I go, if there's anything that fed me, I'm gonna pass it over.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And you do with it what you want to do with it, and that's that. So a lot of people in my phone, they get a lot of text messages from me, and the ones that I don't get good energy from, whether that is energetically or even by words, hey, do not text me these things anymore. I'm not interested, which I love, okay, because communication is key. And if I could save energy and not have to send it to one more person, that's great. I know this person doesn't want me to send it to them, so I won't do it. So I love when people could communicate their truth to me. I don't get offended by that at all, at least not anymore. We've grown in these streets,
Honey,
okay?
she used to be, oh, put your head.
Yo, so listen, you say it.
So when I saw that movie, I don't know if y'all know where that came from, and I don't want to give them no props. Not like that, because they got enough money. They don't need that much. But this particular movie, you know, the Queen of Hearts character,
which happens to be, my mom bought me that book. So I had that book. My mom loved that book for me because she always described me. She was like, as a little girl, I used to go into department stores and be like this little girl. And I'm just, when you told me that I'm the queen, I'm like,
in a department store.
Like I wasn't I?
Oh, look at this. Oh, and this. Oh, and look at this. It was so fun to watch her in that element, right? But so when I told her that she reminded me of that character, it wasn't that you embodied the entire character. Right. She was like, my head is not that big. I don't know what you're talking about. And I was like, you're missing the point. It was it was the fact that every time anything annoyed her, got on her
in high school,
it was just off with your head.
What was my thing in high school?
Fresh.
And you're dismissed.
Dismissed, honey.
Just like that, with the hang and everything.
The hang and everything. And in this movie, it was off with your head, off with your head, and she was off with everybody. And that's just, and you know me, I'm 2 chops to the throat, so I'm no better. But that's why we free.
And this is the thing, right? It's like I can't even believe that we didn't even like each other when we are like from the same cloth, right? It's like it's the same cloth. We wasn't necessarily cut next to each other because there's still differences there that I love.
And we might not even be cut in the same pattern, right? But it's definitely the same cloth.
It's the same cloth. It's the same cloth. Like, listen, what we not gonna do, okay? and that's how we're gonna start our sentence when you know your head is about to be cut off, but I'm gonna save you. Okay?
And that's the grace.
And that's the grace.
That's the grace.
That is great. So it's so funny.
Chop heads. Say nothing.
Yeah. So when she told me that, I was definitely like, first of all, my head, insecure little girl, right? My head is not that big, so I don't know what you're talking about. And then, but years later, you said it again, and I watched the movie, and I was like, girl, that is me. You so right. And she was like, I don't know why you was denying it the first time I told you. And I was like, girl, that is me. But she was right. I would have cut off their head too, honey. But yes, so pay attention to fruit. But for you to be able to do this right, you have to first cultivate yourself. You have to first cultivate yourself, because you're gonna probably end up possibly cutting people off that may be in your life to guide you. And you're seeing it as, oh, this person hating on me or whatever. And in reality, they're not hating on you. They're not even checking for you. You lucky they giving you they 2 cents.
Honey.
Child, that's a high value person in your life. And now here you go kicking them out. Now I have one person like that, but really and truly, because this person wasn't able to, it wasn't just that, it was also they were attracted to me. And I was very clear about appreciating them and loving them for the fact that they were able to teach me certain things about scripture that my own church wasn't able to teach me. And so every time I led in that way, in a pure way, and he was trying to get at me, actually marry me, I was like, that's not gonna happen. I remember one day, it was probably in 2020, or yeah, it's probably in 2020, 2021, there was nothing there. Like everybody else, don't have a job anymore. And he was like concerned for me. And we spent all day together. He came pick me up. We went to find out about some job at like the JFK area. And then he started doing his pickups for like the different food deliveries and Instacart. And then when he dropped me off, he was trying to give me a kiss. And I'm like, sir, first of all, you are what, 20, over 20 years older than me. Now he looked good now for his age. He was in shape and everything, but also no.
But it's the fact that you thought that you deserved access to me in that way. But because we were together all day?
This is not what this is about. I was about to go in again. I'm not even going to go into it, but yeah, he definitely tried it. And so because of that, it even made me sad when I had to cut him off. And it will make you sad with some people. You know, I spoke to you guys about my brother having to cut him off. It's a sad situation, but the more we continue learning about personalities and characters and just the world, your neighbors, like you need to understand people in a way where they don't even understand themselves. And it was important because even though we read up on these things, we read about ourselves, and it's not like we don't recognize those qualities in ourselves, but it's just good to have the language to say, that's what it is. That's the thing that I always try to explain to people, but I can't really explain it because I can't put my finger on it. So they really help you
communicate with others
better, effectively. And when those things don't work out, then now you have to make the hard decision of canceling people out. Period. And that's it. So inspect the fruit that people are growing. Everybody is growing some kind of fruit. And if it's a good fruit, you're going to be laughing about stuff. You know what I mean? Missing exits. And it's going to be a good time. Right? But you could be next to somebody who you missed the first exit and they looking at you like, bruh, I'm done. Over ridiculousness.
And I will say sometimes it don't be that ridiculousness. It be the other things that you're not addressing. And it comes out on that ridiculousness.
That's true.
Which makes it ridiculous.
Right. The whole thing. Exactly. Exactly. So then you want to have clarification, which I don't really necessarily, I mean, I understand clarification, but I don't remember like the chapter because it was a while. And we didn't necessarily reread it.
We did not reread it. But I think it was just more so just check and balance, reassurance.
Yes. So clarification and acceptance for that decision that you just made. If you have somebody in a
friendship category and they need to be an assignment.
But I think the one that was amiss, I think, from my perspective, was the advisor. How you feel like the advisor is your very best friend, when in reality it's like, no, it's one way. And this is how you know it's one way. You don't think so?
So what I took from advisor was a paid professional. Or for instance, like a therapist, right? Some people, many people, you go to therapy, you feel like if you have a good therapist, right? That relationship could almost feel like, are we friends? Can we go get drinks after this?
Right.
And no, you can't go get drinks after this. This is you legit only talk to me because you pay me to help you. You pay me to talk back to you. You pay me to help you understand you. So it's a different dynamic, but I think, so that's what I took that for, because sometimes your therapist could begin to feel like, oh, I tell this woman everything, or I tell this dude everything, right? And it could feel like this is, so I took that in for those relationships that we encounter with people that are, you know, kind of blurred a little bit, where the lines are blurred, but the lines are only blurred because we're blurring them, not because they weren't, you know.
And it's never them, it's always you. Right? So if you're the advisor and you feel like there's somebody who you're like, but I was clear. I think I was clear. I think I'm being clear that it's not that type of situation. But they're not getting it. That's what it is.
Right. So it's always the person being advised that feels like this is my best friend.
Right. So, you know, just accept the decision that you made. Like, if you really, after reading the book, felt like, oh, this person is actually not my friend, like this person is actually my advisor, be okay with that. Pump your brakes. Like, man, people, do the work, y'all. Do the work.
Yes. And be comfortable in your feelings, but being in your feelings doesn't mean just sitting in that feeling. You have to be in that feeling. You have to address that feeling. You have to figure out how you're going to clear out that feeling. You can't just sit and sulk in it. Like, I'm so sick of this in my bag culture, because, okay, you in the bag, but now what? You just gonna sit here? You're not gonna try and process it? Honey, that's a different bag.
Oh, what bag?
When folks be like, I'm in my bag right now, I'm all up in my feelings. Get the bag, that's the money bag.
I am not keeping up with times as well as I thought I would have been.
Honey, apparently I'm not either, because I think in my bag was like 3 years ago. I don't know what the folks saying now. They could be saying something else.
Honey.
But whatever it is that you're saying.
I still don't know how to use cat.
Cat?
You done corrected me like 2 times, 3 times. I don't even use it because I don't like the word, period.
So I don't use it because I don't see like what's wrong with facts. Like, I don't. So I feel like a lot of this generation is just always looking for the newest, latest trend to hop on. And I'm just like, but it wasn't broke.
I don't even know how they come up with it. It's genius, really.
Trying to fix something that was working. Right. So for me, right. So she says it's genius. I feel like it's annoying.
I think it's genius because I don't know how they do it. Like, I don't know how it happens. Yeah. How does it happen? I birthed you. I raised you. So how do you now have different language from what I taught you? How does that happen?
I guess the same way we did from my parents. Because they went from yo with the dilly yo. We ain't never said that. Like,
never, honey. Never.
Now we out here.
Yeah. Oh my God.
It's different.
So you were touching on the third part of the book, which is aligning.
Aligning, yes.
So advocation, having that conversation, making limitations.
And process of elimination.
And eliminating off with their heads. Be gone, you're dismissed, away from me. Don't want to see.
Right, but I think that chapter speaks about doing that with grace. So don't do it like how we
Yes, don't do it the way we're doing it. But like, I think about that. I remember one time thinking about that, like how I used to talk to people, and it was mostly dudes. I would never did that to a female because I understood how sensitive females were, which is why I wasn't friends with a lot of them, which is the feeling towards you, right? In the beginning. It's like, yeah, if you and I didn't have the same vibe, then we were not going to be friends because I don't have time to be all sensitive. I already have to go home and deal with my sensitive mom. Like, I don't have time to be friends with people who take something that I'm saying to the heart when I really mean it jokingly. And so I wasn't saying that to women. It was mostly to men boys who were annoying me. And I don't know who it was, but they wanted to ask me a question. And I just I wasn't here for it. But I said, okay, what do you want? And they came and they asked me the question and I responded. And then I was like, okay, you're dismissed. Like, why are you still here? Like, real, like, who do you think you are? And I'm surprised, boys and men, just the male species, like, they really put up with a lot, child. And some of them be letting you, like, they love that, which I don't understand.
I don't understand
because
either.
we do not put up with that as women. We're like, excuse you?
Honey, who you think you talking
Who you talking to? Immediately. So, and that person never said anything. Whoever that person is, I can't remember who, but they were just like, all right, and they left. And I was happy. Bye.
And see her so kind. You're dismissed, honey. I was barking and biting out here.
Doing too much.
Doing too much.
And then
not protecting my energy, but now
oh man,
I'm out here protecting my energy because I know I
can't
give so much of that away. And even though I still struggle with that, I still be out here giving out the energy because it just that fire just be igniting all up and through here, and with my throat chakra being overactive and defined, and I'm just.
That's another thing, right? I skipped through that because it's not necessarily that deep, but also it is like immediately. But I get it. But you see, I work through all of those things. That's why I'm able, those things that be having you like, what? I'm like, I just look at people now like they stupid.
I'm still working through mine.
Child, you're going to get there because I'm good ground. I've worked very hard to be good ground. And I don't know where I got that from, but I thank the Lord for guiding me and making me realize, like, girl, you got to fix this. You got to fix it fast. And honestly, I think now that I'm talking about it, I think that the reason that happened was maybe because I prayed for a husband so bad. But also the reason I was praying for a husband was because I was tired of being with my mom, right? And so now I'm just like, that's probably why I'm in limbo so much, because it's like, now that she's not around, it's like, well, I'm by myself. Like, do I really want to get married? You know what I mean? But honestly, a lot of those changes probably came because it's like, okay, you praying for this thing, I'm gonna need you to be good fruit for this person that you want, this person that you praying for. Like, I'm not gonna have you out here just marrying somebody and then you whack. Like, no. So I think that process really had to do with not just me, which is really the most important part, because there's people who are miserable with themselves. That's why, unfortunately, you have so many people attempting suicide, and some people are successful because they're just not happy with themselves. So, and I was that person as a little girl, as a teenager, praying for death almost on a daily. And so, it's first, you need to be happy with yourself. Then that joy is going to allow you to now have better friendships, relationships with all people. Get to know yourself. The book ends with assessing the situation. So what kind of friend are you?
Or not even what kind of friend are you, but where do you place yourself in other people's lives as well?
That too. Yes, it did speak about that. But that's the same way, no? That's saying the same thing different ways.
I mean, if you consider yourself a friend to someone else, then yes, you can say what kind of friend are you. But even though he did specify friends is a mutually beneficial relationship.
That's
so
right.
You can't be a friend and that other person's not a friend too, because it just don't work out that way.
Don't.
But I think just to say, like, what kind of friend are you? Because you could be the assignment. Or you like in a situation, you could be the advisor, you could be an associate.
And yes, because my situation with my friend, where I was the advisor and I didn't recognize, we already had read the book and I still was messing up. I'm like, it wasn't until all the frustration afterwards with me trying to cultivate this relationship that I was like, okay, let me go back and think about how this started. And the way it started is me being an advisor to this person who needed me in this very specific type of way. And once I helped them with that thing that I was helping them with, it was supposed to come to an end.
Yeah.
But it didn't. Instead, we kept on, and then when you have this type of story, right, it's like, oh, well, you don't know when the next Kahawia is going to come around. It could be her.
Honey.
But it sure wasn't.
But then when you got Kahawia and you got all this frustration, I'm like, her baby too chopped to the throat. Who she thinks she is? Oh, no, she didn't.
You was against that quick.
Too chopped
heavy
to the throat, because my community calls me the pit bull, okay? Because I barks and I fight out here. But I'm calm, I'm loving. Pit bulls get a bad rap.
Man.
But we do all the things. So I don't play about my people.
I play myself. So definitely, some people are not going to have the awareness to be able to say, hey, this is what you are to me. So you need to know ahead of time what you are to them.
Yeah.
Where you stand. And it ends with how is it going, I guess, like all the categories that you've made. Did it mention how often you should be, I think it did, how often you should be doing that?
How often you should assess? It may have. We read that was so long ago.
I know. Well,
but listen,
keep up with
she
that.
Gonna put the link.
I am.
So y'all get the book, y'all read the book. And if there's anything else that you found interesting about it, anything else that you want to share that you feel like we didn't touch on, or just anything you want to share, period, comment. Listen, I love people to tell me, girl, you was wrong. That ain't what the book said. I love for people to tell me, share with me different perspectives or new information.
Right.
So,
and why do we love it? We love it because we're trying to grow.
We're trying to grow.
If you come in here trying to check me on some enemy type of energy, off with your head.
Honey, I'm gonna meet you.
Off with your head. Well, I ain't gonna meet you. She's still working through it.
I'm working through it.
I'm not gonna meet you. I'm going to
depend on what time you catch me, and it depends on, did I eat yet?
Oh goodness. I ain't gonna meet you. You will be ignored and you will be blocked. Period.
Yeah, sometimes I have those days, right?
You do.
Because I've been working on it.
But yeah, if you come with it with a genuine, like, oh, actually, you made a mistake or whatever, I could come. Yes, please. Because I'm out here trying to be the best human. I'm trying to go in front of God and be like, tell me I was the best. That's the worst thing, right? But I think we should all be striving towards that. Like, we should always striving to, like, just be the best us that we could possibly be. And stop walking around here like zombies and allowing
and stop walking around here with feces on our soul.
Like, say more.
Feces on our soul. That's the clean version, because that ain't what I was thinking. But
she went doctor on y'all. She could have said poop. But she wasn't thinking about that. Because I told her, I was like, I be studying you so hard. Like, she is the best, like, right now for me, like, the best person to take notes of. Because, again, back to human design, supposedly I'm here to be a healer. And speaking about that person, that's exactly what I helped them do. I helped them heal. Not even, it just naturally happened. And so for me, I'm just like this scientist who is constantly like taking notes on people, and being that I'm on the other side of things, I'm able to like watch her process, and I'm just like, oh, that's interesting. Like, I just be like,
so many moments you be, fascinating. Like,
interesting. Tell me more.
Tell me more.
I want to know the things, all the things. How did that make you feel? How did you react? What did you say? How did they feel? How was their facial expression? I want to know it all. I want to know it all, because this is important information that I'm going to need to communicate better with people, to help people heal in whatever way I could help them heal. In fact, I'm getting ready to sign up for a course that's going to certify me as a Christian life coach. So I'm super excited about that.
Well, I ain't gonna tell y'all what my course is in, because one thing Brad if I am is ready for the whole Kahawia. But if y'all want the whole Kahawia, you can check me out, definitely. AfroSoFly.com. Y'all can see my hoodie, but you know we AfroSoFly decked out. My hoodie says, "You do it for clout, I do it for my ancestors."
Period.
And that's period. That's
period. I love it. I love it. Honey, yes. So what do we want to add? Like, what do we want to add for, I don't know, the person that's struggling? Okay, yes, that's who I want to talk to. I want to talk to, because I sent you that video on Instagram where the basketball player, I believe he was. I think he was a basketball player. I mean, the logistics don't matter, but it was a meeting with men, and they were just talking, and this dude was just like, I'm not interested. Like, I'm no disrespect to what y'all have going there. Sounds cute. He didn't say that. But because I've been burnt by people who I've considered friends, people who I've wanted to be friends with, I just don't have the energy anymore. And so
he was in a checked out space.
Yeah, he was crying
and
everything.
Vulnerable to share that with other men, right?
Very.
And then for his friends to be like, listen.
And they received him with grace. You might not be here,
oh my
gosh,
here.
They didn't clown him.
You. No, they didn't.
They handled that beautifully.
And I thought that was so beautiful, especially among Black men. And I'm going to say that.
Right.
Okay, because that's what I'm about. So among Black men, that was beautiful to see. And it's definitely like, you know, we as a community, and I say we because I'm a Black woman, but we as a community, we need that for our Black men. Our Black men need a strong support system. They need, you know, just the same as we do, right?
Right.
But I feel like oftentimes women are more intentional about finding that, because we are the more, society says that we're the more emotional, but they human too. They got emotions. They need space and freedom to express that and not be attacked for acting like female, you know?
And fathers alike need to stop telling their little boys to not cry. Stop it. You know, I really enjoy Deadass podcast because the Vow is really intentional about allowing his boys to cry, but in the right setting. I've heard him say several times that I teach them that, yes, maybe you don't cry in front of wrong place, wrong time, basically. Like, you don't cry there, but you excuse yourself and you go somewhere. If you really feel it, you excuse yourself, go do your thing, wait a little while, make sure you're good, and then come back out and continue on with life. And I think that's better than what I was saying, because what I would say is, you need to cry right now, do it. True, I don't care.
Yeah, and I think maybe they do that too, because, you know, you still do just want to save face, because that man has the responsibility of being seen as that overall protector.
Right. So I think it's a lot better, than me, which, and my perspective would be that, right? Because I'm a woman, it's like, people are not going to look at me as less than. It's like, that's natural.
That's what we expect
you to be like this. And so anyway, so I really want to speak to the people who are just tapped out and just feel like, I tried, didn't work, I'm over it. And that could have been 2 tries, that could have been 10 tries. We're not here to judge, because everybody's limit is different. So we don't get to say, 2 people, that's why you like this. Don't do that. Don't do that. If that person put you in your face, I'm sorry, but you deserve it. How dare you tell somebody that their limit is below
your threshold?
Like, what? Honey, stop it. So how do you what words do you have for that young girl or young man? Let's say young girl. I want to speak to the young man as well, but the reality is we are not men, and so we clearly don't know how to speak to men. So what advice do you have for that young girl who may be in that same place of like, I tried and I'm good?
I would say if you're in that space, first work on the relationship that you have with self. Learn to be your own best friend. Learn to first advocate for yourself with the same energy that you would love on someone else and advocate for them to the utmost. Transfer that to yourself. And with that level of growth, you will find yourself in a space where you can again, right? You can develop a space to maybe accept someone else, right? But I also feel like with that, you'll be placed on a path to where you'll meet somebody who is as intentional about themselves as you have become about you. You will set boundaries for yourself. You will be able to see 5 miles away, that ain't it, shorty. And be okay with that because you've gotten to know yourself so much that you're not going to sacrifice yourself anymore. You're not falling on your own sword to save somebody else. Especially with you, not at all. Okay.
Y'all heard Leroy.
You're not at all.
He said, I'm not going to break my arm trying to shake yours.
Honey, that's what he said. I am not going to break my arm trying to shake your hand, honey. And you have to do the work. And it's hard, right? It's hard to come from a space of, I don't know myself enough, or maybe I have these insecurities. I don't know if I love myself. I don't know how to love myself. And this is a real thing. I went through this. This is a real thing. And sometimes I still struggle with it. Sometimes it's like, well,
yeah,
I have this friend that cares so much about me getting sleep.
Hello.
And it almost make me want to cry. Like, what? I am supposed to say, I should have taken a nap today. I would be much better, with my productivity if I had slept, a little bit more. But it's just having someone as intentional about you, your growth, your well-being as you are about yourself. And that's going to have to start with you. You have to get to a space where you go through those feelings, you feel those feelings, you look at yourself in the mirror and you legit be like, I'm beautiful. Or when you looking at yourself in the mirror, you beautiful girl. Did you know that? Did you know all of this that you got going on? All right. And even if you see something within yourself that you may not like, then you figure out how you change that.
That's right.
You figure out, okay, you know what? I do got that thing right here. I don't know too much about this gut, but you know what? Instead of eating 5 burgers, hello, this is what we gonna do instead. And we gonna work on that, honey. And you be in the mirror, you be dancing. Say kind words to yourself. Be kind to yourself. And I think realizing if you don't have the friends that you want, be that friend to yourself, and you will attract the people in your life that need to be there. And the people that you feel like you want to be there, I don't care if you feel like you love them. Love is a choice. You can choose not to love them too. If they not loving you the way that they need to be loving you, then they don't need to be there, and that's on period. And I know I said period, but I'm gonna continue because this got to be continued.
Let me colon.
However, not even however, because it's all the same point. But definitely, it's going to start with you. It's going to start with you because you have no other friends. You are your best friend. You are the one that is responsible for loving on you. You are the one that is responsible for teaching others how to love you, for teaching others how to talk to you, how to treat you, you're responsible for that. And you have to own up to that responsibility and hold yourself accountable. So when you're not nice to yourself, you gotta, girl, don't be talking to me like that. And that's okay, right? You're not crazy because you check yourself. Put yourself in check. And talking nice to yourself doesn't just mean talking nice to yourself out loud. When you get negative thoughts, receive the thought because it came to your mind, acknowledge it, release it. Figure out what you need to do with it, process it, let it go. I'm not gonna think that about myself. I'm not gonna be out here putting myself down before the world gets an opportunity to even see me. Because right now, when you're doing that, you're not showing your true, authentic self to the world. So how is somebody supposed to want to be your friend? And if you want the kind of friends that you say you want, like a true friend, that friend also has an accountability system to where how you treat yourself is how they're going to expect that you're going to treat them. And if you treating yourself crazy, and I'm saying crazy because I'm going to say, if you treating yourself like you got feces on your soul, it's not going to work out. So work on yourself.
Honey.
Work on loving yourself. Be intentional about being selfish, and that is okay.
Today was a day for your throat chakra.
Today was a good day.
Honey. I'm like, is that me in the mirror? And that's what it's supposed to be, okay?
Today was a good day.
I'm not saying that your community is supposed to be a clone, Jesus, a clone of yourself.
Yeah.
But there are the base level of things are supposed to be like, we see eye to eye on the important things.
My soul sees yours.
Exactly. And I would end with saying, while you were talking, be okay with being by yourself, right? You're going to get to learn yourself only by being by yourself. Mm-hmm. When I started my journey in my early 20s, late teens, early 20s, I was intentional about going shopping by myself, whether that's clothes shopping, grocery shopping, whatever. And I had a list of things that I knew that I wanted to be comfortable to do by myself. I checked off going to the movies by myself. It was amazing. And it's probably the easiest thing that you could do because you're in a theater in the dark. Nobody cares that you're there by yourself, but we care. And that's why we feel so uncomfortable with it, right? Because we feel like, oh, who's watching us? Nobody's watching you. They didn't pay to watch you. They paid to watch the movie. Okay, so that's probably the easiest thing. It was hard for me, but then when I did it, I was like, this is easier than going shopping by myself.
And whatever people are thinking about you, that's not your business.
That's not your business.
That's their business.
The biggest thing that I did that I checked off in 2018, I believe, was traveling by myself. I was considering San Diego, and I decided, well, I could take this time off. I'm going to take it off, do a quick 3-day, just a weekend situation at San Diego. I went by myself, and it was amazing. I went to an Airbnb where I was hosted by a lovely lady, and it was great. And it was scary, but it was still comfortable enough. So you have to do things within boundaries that you set. So for me, it was, I'm not going to go crazy and go outside of the country, right? But staying, and I think California is a solid, safe place to go to because so everybody is friendly. Mm-hmm. So I went there by myself and I had the best time of my life. Like I spoke to people and they were answering all my questions and it was just lovely. It was the best time ever. And now you can't stop me now. I go everywhere by myself.
Can't stop her now. She was gonna come here by herself.
I was gonna come here by myself.
She put in a group chat, I'm going to Dallas for my birthday. I've booked my trip. Whoever wants to come can come. If not, well, catch you next time.
Zeus's. Okay. And I mean it. And you know what? I think put me like accelerated the process for me was honestly missing Mark Anthony 3 years in a row. Miss it. I love Mark Anthony. And I missed his concert 3 years in a row at Barclays. Why? Because I kept asking people, hey, he's going to be here. Who wants to come? And everybody's just doing their own thing. And it's like, I already have the experience. I already know that this is how people deal with me. I already know this. So why do I expect somebody to stop what they doing and come? Even if they love Mark Anthony too, that don't mean they want to go with me. They probably want to go with somebody else, their actual friend, right? Because I was asking a whole bunch of associates. And so the fact that I missed out, and I missed out because he's going to be in concert right around my house tomorrow, but that's okay. That's okay. The fact that I missed this man when I could have easily just bought a ticket and gone by myself, but I didn't feel comfortable doing that, really made me realize, like, what am I going to do? Am I going to miss out on life because I always need somebody next to me? Mm-hmm. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I'm definitely not going to put myself in danger's way and do things that I really should be doing with somebody else. But I think I could do my research and figure out what things are safe and what things are not safe, mm-hmm. and move accordingly. And for me, San Diego was safe, and Dallas was safe as well. Mm-hmm. And so I sure enough was ready to come here by myself. But I'm also very glad that I wasn't. And I invited a good amount of people. And guess who showed up?
Ew.
I could drop the mic on that. And we're having the best time of our lives.
The best time.
And I wouldn't have it any other way. So one more time, run it back for the people because I'm done talking. Where can they find you? Your podcast? Where can they find
all the things?
Okay. All the things.
So I am Kahawia on K&K Podcast with, Real Talk with Kiva and Kahawia. We are a literary podcast where we deconstruct books that are, we deconstruct literature because now we've moved on to film and somebody had to write it. So challenge me if you want to. Now, but we do this, to uplift the Black nation. So we started with the Black woman because we are Black women. We went on to the Black man and we did 2 books by Sister Shahrazad Ali. And then we moved on to the Black child, which was the developmental psychology of the Black child by Dr. Amos and Wilson. And then we moved on to some literature. And we got a few more things in the works, but definitely we are on all the streaming platforms where you can listen to your favorite podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Anchor Podcasts, all the things. Now, aside from being Kahawia, I'm also Dominique D. Glisson. I'm an author. I am an erotic poet. So yes, I write books for the young women that are out there struggling with finding themselves through their, can I say vagina?
Yes.
Through their vagina. I know, right? But I just be thinking bright if I am, right? So I just want to be conscious of that. And it's somebody else's platform, right? Because on my platform, I'm raw. Right. I want to be respectful of that.
Honey, I'm transparent, but she raw. That's very different now.
Very
transparent different. And raw is very different. So
transparent is I'm still going to be honest. And I'm still going to say what I need to say. And raw is you get it how you get it.
That's it. I ain't thinking about it. I'm not gonna chew it up. Either you could eat the steak or not.
I mean, that's it. I like that one.
That's it. Ooh. And I'm over here cutting it for you so you can see the inside. Is this good for you? Like, I'm over here playing myself, but sometimes this is why I be going off because I be playing myself. But it's okay.
It's a learning curve for us all. But yeah, so I write my book. So I have the Pink Trilogy, which the 2 books are out. Pink Canvas was the first book. And it pretty much just follows me on my journey towards self-love and self-validation because I don't need it from other people. And also just how I identify with love and how I experienced it. Because for so long, I experienced love through my vagina. If my vagina was happy, oh, I love you. And if she wasn't, you've got to go. They didn't care how nice you was. They didn't care about this and that and this and that and all the other priorities. The priorities was sex. The priority was how I felt. And then when we go into Pink Lotus, we get to kind of uncover some things as to where that kind of led me, right? And we start to talk about my experiences with sexual assault. We start to talk about how I feel outside of my vagina. So we start to find that, oh, okay, my heart is not actually in my vagina. It might actually be up here somewhere, right? And you really start to process what that means and what that looks like. And can I still be sexual and feel like I can love somebody for who they are now? So it's just that journey. And
you feel that.
And yeah.
I read and I'm like, ooh, you could really tell the difference.
Yeah. So it's an ongoing story, right? So it's supposed to follow that journey. So, and wherever you are in the journey, there's nothing wrong with that, right? But it's just more so addressing things for what they are and not living in what they could be and not living in what they're not. And the third book, the third and final installment of that series, will be out November 2012. You can definitely find it on, did I say 2012?
You did, girl.
Child, November.
She gonna have me putting bubbles she really made.
November 2022, honey.
You know, I will say, at least she didn't take us to the future.
Which I do often.
Now she bringing us back a little bit. She's trying to calibrate herself. That's all that's happening.
Yeah. So that is what's happening. And I think, honestly, because I haven't released the date that I'm gonna drop the book, but I guess now I could, right, on your show. So the book, I'm still not gonna tell you the title, but the book will be released November 12th, 2022.
Got it.
So I think in calibrating, I wanted to say it, and look at the Lord, I done said it.
Honey.
On Bride of I Am.
Calibrating. And this is why it's so interesting to me. In my, y'all don't see it on the outside, but in my mind, I'm like, interesting.
Yo, it is a thing, right? But yeah,
gosh.
So look for that. And again, you can look for it on AfroSoFly.com. That is my brand. We are out here encouraging people of the Afro community to express themselves creatively and fearlessly. Okay. And, because we, at the end of the day, whether you identify yourself as Black, you Hispanic, you, whatever your ethnicity is, if you are a person of color, as they calling us now, you are a victim of white supremacy. And that is our only true identification in this land. I want to say country and land. It came out lunch.
In this lunch. Honey, in this lunch. Oh boy.
We are victims of white supremacy, so we out here. And with that, there's no reason for you to be arguing with the next victim. Take your problems to the people who created the problem.
That's right.
And that's that on that.
And I love listening to the podcast because Kiva, she at times give us good words to use when you're in a situation with the oppressor, and I just love it.
Yeah,
I'm like, ooh,
because Kiva is out here cutting the steak, honey.
She is cutting the steak, but she cutting it good,
right? She cuts it good, and it's beautifully, right? And I think that's that balance.
It's like it's just a bit too big for your mouth, but it could fit.
It could fit.
That's how she's giving it to you, because it still stings.
It stings.
But it's in your mouth. You ain't have to cut it yourself.
You ain't have to cut it yourself.
It's in there. So I love it. I love it. All of those things are going to be in the description below.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you for having me in on your birthday trip to me.
Thank you so much for tuning in again and just coming along on this journey, man. I can't wait to see what this turns into, but I'm super, super excited, especially at the fact that I'm now going to get certified to help you guys even better, So I'm really, really excited about that. see you guys in April with new things. That is all for today. Peace.
Later, y'all.